going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of FlagPlus Football's First and Goal podcast. I'm your host, Brent Bodkin.
And I'm Quaysie going to Maule.
All right, so let's hop into it. We have a brand new episode for you. Obviously, 6v6 divisions from 6B all the way to 1. Our second episode coming up later will be obviously women's co-ed, 5v5, all the other good stuff. Okay, so a couple of things off the top. NFL season is done. Super Bowl has come and gone. Seahawks with a huge victory over the Pats. I know we made our picks last week. I think on this show I made a pick to see the Pats, and then on the second show I picked the Seahawks. I'm gonna
You kind
change
of
that to
switched it up.
Seahawks all the way through. Obviously, after the fact, yeah, just a dominant game. Congrats to them. Sam Darnold wasn't great, but he didn't turn over the ball, which was key. And the run game, Kenneth Walker, the third MVP, Super Bowl
Yeah.
MVP, deservedly so. That defense was on point. The pass, I mean, listen, Drake May didn't look comfortable the whole game. No one can get open. You're not going to beat Seattle if your receivers can't get open.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's been like that for I think the divisional round, the semis. I felt like he was kind of struggling as well. He played Houston. He didn't do good at all. And then playing Denver, he also didn't play good as well. But the other quarterbacks didn't really perform either. So he was able to get away with it. But Sam Donald again, no turnovers, and if you have a good run game, it's definitely how you could win a championship. So
Yeah, yeah.
got it
To the
done.
champs, it is what it is. I was talking to Ben actually Monday night. We were scorekeeping together in Saint Laurent. He's like, "Damn, there's no more football on Sundays. Like, what are we gonna do on Sundays?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I hear you. It's kind of this post NFL season depression. I go through it every year. So lots of people go through it as well. It's like, guy, I gotta find something to do now on Sundays.
Yeah, yeah,
it's gonna be rough.
it's not fun.
I hear
I'm
you.
excited for March Madness now though. That's
Hey,
like the
so
next big.
you're right at 100% on that. And I was saying, so on the way home from work today, I was like, yeah, dude, you got to start watching more Olympics. Like, I've been watching a bit. I was at
Mm-hmm.
the barber shop last Saturday. They had on the women's hockey, so I was watching some of that. I was watching, I know men's, I think Team Canada got a big W today. I'm trying to see here on my phone who they beat. I want to say, no, USA beat Latvia. I'm trying to find out who Canada beat. I can't remember
They
for the
beat
life of
like
me.
sketch. They won. I think they won 5-0. I don't know who they played though.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, right, yeah, they won 5-0. Anyways, yeah,
That team
man.
is
The
disgusting.
Olympics are here. Yeah, Czechia. They beat Czechia. Yeah, 5-0. Listen, the Olympics are here. I think it's awesome. I'm gonna try and watch as much as I can. It's just hard, right? It's on in the middle of the day where all of us are at work, right? So I
Yeah,
mean, it is what
dude.
it is. But
I felt like it
still cool
was.
to see.
I felt like it was promoting. It was promoted so much better be- before. Like I feel like it was the commercials was always about it. It was you always saw it on TV. And now I feel like it's just not something that you see. It's like I don't know. I remember in high school, even like in CJEP, where like it was always everywhere, and like now it's like it's all
Right.
the Winter Olympics. I don't feel like the hype is not there anymore. Maybe it's just me, and maybe it's because it's something I don't like follow as much. But I felt like I remember always seeing it when the Winter Olympics started and stuff like that. I just feel like nowadays it's not something that's like promoted as much.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I mean, I think personally, yeah, okay, we're like a hockey country, but I think personally for me, I think that Summer Olympics are more exciting because you have soccer that's involved. Obviously, you have tennis, and then you have track and field, right? Canada is like that's been one of the most dominant sports, track and field, last couple of
Yeah,
over the last couple of decades. Um, it's I find like okay, you have hockey, you have bobsled, you have freestyle skiing, downhill skiing, all that stuff, which is great. And I know at least from the American standpoint, I mean the whole storyline, the whole big thing, headline I should say was Lindsey Vaughn. She's in her 40s, unretiring, coming back, and obviously she broke her leg this past week. The week before, she tore her ACL, and then she tried to go on that ACL, and now she broke her leg, I think, in three places. So that sucks for her. Shout out, I mean, someone in her 40s trying to do that, which is awesome. But yeah, I feel like you're right. There was more hype, I guess, before. I know, well, the NHL, right? You gotta remember the NHL for a couple of years. I want to say the last two Olympics they missed. I'm just checking it out right here, but so they hadn't been around. They made the return now, but I mean, it was for at least two or three Olympic games where they missed, right? So I mean, um, maybe that's kind of slowly bringing people back in.
Mhm.
or maybe being gone for so long. Yeah, it's 14 years. 14 years was the last time they played in the Olympics, right? So maybe the fact that they missed out for so many years is some people just didn't decide not to come back. I don't know. I,
It's back. It's here.
yeah,
Something to
there you go.
watch. You know. So
And especially like in FPF, right? I mean, obviously 2028, right? The games in LA, summer games in LA coming up in just 2 short years, right? We're going to see a lot of players in FPF on Team
yeah.
Canada. We're
Well,
going to see flag
hopefully,
football in general, right? Making its Olympic
hopefully,
debut.
Team Canada qualifies. Again,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
there's
yeah.
only
Hopefully.
there's only 6 teams that qualify, right? I think it's six that they're doing, and it's not a lot. I think it's six, maybe eight, but it's not a lot of teams. So a lot of the next competitions coming up where you get to send your country out there. You're like it's must wins, must or I think top two finishes. I think you kind of have to place. Um, I think the next one's in Panama. I'm not exactly sure, but I think the next tournament is in Panama. I think you have to, like I think the top two teams qualify for the LA Olympics. So this summer. So I think that's going to be it's going to be huge.
You know,
We could
so I'm saying here, so it's going to be, yes, it's going to be 12 teams competing in the LA games. So six men's team and six women's team. So yeah, well,
yeah,
six and six, 12 in all.
which is not a lot if you think about it. 6 teams is not a
Not,
lot.
not at
And then you have
all.
the powerhouse.
Not
You
at
already
all.
have the powerhouse teams that are kind of there, but like some teams are starting to get known, right? So you have Canada, you have USA, you have Mexico, the kind of like the top
Yeah.
three names that you know. But again, France is playing really well now. Australia is playing really good. Like you're gonna have a lot of these teams that are just gonna get better every single year. And Canada again, like as you know that we have a good amount of athletes. It's gonna be weird to be honest with you when it comes down to it. Like for women's, completely different. I feel like a lot of the women's are kind of like safe to a point where you're not going to get bumped out from a professional athlete that's coming from the NFL or the CFL or someone that wants to like try out. But for the men's, it's to a point where when we hit 2020, when we hit 2027, and we're 1 year away, and then they start doing a lot of the camps, and they're trying to finalize a team for the Olympics. It's best man up, and it's like it's kind of messed up to say, but you could be part of that Canada team going forward from this year to the next year for this tournament coming up. And let's just say you qualify for them, it doesn't mean you have a spot on the team. Like anything can change, right? And it's
That's
like
very
that a lot
true.
of times for a lot of professional sports. So
That is
people have
very
to
true.
realize that like your spot's not scared, especially for the men's. Your spot's not scared, and it takes one guy to be like, okay, you know what? Maybe I want to represent my country. Like we have a good amount of athletes on the defensive side that play in the NFL, and it's to the point where maybe I want to play for Team Canada, and then you're like, oh yeah, but he's on a flag player. I'm telling you now,
Yeah.
if if they get like
Yeah.
a player like Ben St. Just or like there's another
Even Chase
DP.
Brown, the running back from the
Yeah,
Bengals.
exactly. If one of
Yeah.
those guys come like, oh hey, I'm interested in playing, there's
Yeah.
not going to be a debate. It's like, oh bro, he's on a flag player. They're taking him.
Listen,
Okay, they're taking him.
yeah.
So
I
it's
mean,
going to
we
be
see it
very
already, right? Anthony O'Clair, right? The man is he won a couple Super Bowls with Tampa Bay, like a third or fourth tight end, good blocking tight end. He's on the team. Has he played a game of flag in any flag league ever? I
no.
don't
He's
think.
yeah, exactly. He's just kind of getting into it, but you're gonna. It's to a point where like it's gonna. I'm very curious to see how it's gonna go because again, I know some guys are gonna catch feelings, especially like when you're so close to it and you are training for it, right?
You
But
were putting in the work, and these other guys again putting in work, but in a different way,
it's a
are to
whole
come and get
different
your
yeah,
spot.
exactly. Compared
Yeah.
compared to women's where it's kind of like we don't really have a professional like there's no professional women's football around the world. There's flag, right? So the girls that represent Team Canada now, in the next 2 years, you're gonna have some familiar faces moving forward. But like for the men's, like you have these athletes, even athletes that right now are playing in Europe. Maybe I have a chance to play for my country. They come down, they come do a
100%.
tryout, stuff like that. There's a lot of athletes. So I'm very curious to see in the next few years how it's going to work and who's going to be part of the team.
Yeah, that makes two of us. I mean, I've had this conversation with tons of people, and it's like, yeah, listen, if if you're if you're an NFL player, like you said, like a guy like Chase Brown or Ben St. Just, and even for Team USA, it's the same thing, right? They're talking about Tyreek Hill or I forget the quarterback's name. Was going online and running his mouth. Oh, Patrick Mahomes comes on, I'll be him for the starting job. Yeah, I know you're not. You're
Yeah,
not.
exactly.
Sorry,
No,
you're not.
exactly. You have to realize it's
Not at all.
and that's how literally sports work. So all these guys
Mhm.
that don't play, that are not involved in the tackle world and stuff like that, like they're most of the coaches right now too are tackle guys, and it's to a point is that they're gonna bump you for someone that plays tackle. They're gonna bump you that
100%.
someone that understands their system, because it's you don't I don't I'm not speaking on the women's side because I don't exactly know, but I know on the men's side is that your coaches are tackle football coaches. They're
At
not
least as a
flag
tackle
coaches,
coach.
they're
100%.
tackle football coaches. The formations you guys run are tackle football formations. Your defense are tackle formations. Yeah, they're adjusting on how exactly it works for 5v5, but the concept is tackle. The reads, the calls, whatever. So guys do struggle when you try out for Team Canada and you're looking at a defensive scheme and they're calling certain things and you're kind of struggling to understand. That's a way for you to get cut from a team because you're not used to it. You can't be someone, oh, I played flag your whole life, and then you get into a system where it's a tackle system. You have a lot of learning to do, and it's to the point where coaches don't have time to kind of walk you through it. It's next man up, especially if you have a lot of guys there. I rather I rather have someone that kind of knows the system if than someone that doesn't know the system. We have to like walk him through it, and then maybe his potential is not that good. So, anyways, as I was saying, it's gonna be very interesting to see in the next 2 years exactly who's gonna be part of that team. Hopefully, again, there's hopefully a lot of guys from Quebec make the team, are just flag guys in general, because I think it makes it 10 times more exciting to watch people that you actually know on Team Canada. Like the last couple of tournaments that we're
Of course,
playing
yeah.
in China and stuff, it was nice to see the women's Team Canada team play, even though their games were like at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was like the time zone was crazy, but you knew a lot of those female players, so it was like you had something. I feel like it was more. You had more to cheer for.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I mean, look at it like this. So, I mean, actually, so speaking to something you said earlier, right? So I'm looking at, even for women's football, right? Like, so okay, so before I get to that, so one thing to keep in mind, right? So we talked about again 6 teams for the men, 6 teams for the ladies. The host team, so Team USA, they have an automatic bid
Yeah,
already
but I
because
mean
they're
that's
the host
fine.
nation, right? So you're really looking at 5 men's teams and 5 women's teams in
Yeah,
addition
but
to
yeah,
Team
but
USA.
USA is also top. They're probably top three in general. Like I don't see them
Well,
like
yeah, yeah, you're right. So they're gonna make it out of the way. I'm just saying, just like because
if
people are like,
if
oh,
it was
well,
like in if it was in Germany. Let's just say our Olympics were
yeah,
in Germany, then it would be
yeah,
kind of messed up because then they're taking a spot.
true, true, true.
Because like even though the Germany women's team's not bad, but the men's not as
Yeah,
good. But I mean that's taking a full on spot. At least
yeah.
Team USA
I
should be
mean,
one of the
yeah.
powerhouse. They should be one of the favorites.
Well, that's it, right? And like you said, the qualification rate. So I know the 5 other teams they're gonna have to qualify like through the IFAF, the International Federation of American Football. So yeah, the IFAF. There's going to be a qualifying series. So I think yeah, so there's going to be games this summer, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
as well
So I
for
think
teams to
I think the
qualify. Yeah,
qualifying is it's I think I want to say Panama. I don't know why I want to say Panama, but the top two teams
yeah, yeah.
that win there get a bid for the Olympics. But I think it's weird because Team USA is going to be there. So I wonder if they're going to go USA since they get automatically they go 2 and 3 instead of being 1 and 2. Because I'm assuming USA is going to finish 1 or 2. So I'm wondering if they're going to take the third team instead. Or they're just going to be like, oh no, tough luck, go qualify for a next tournament where USA is not going to be, something like around those lines. But I feel like even if you qualify, I wonder if you still go to the tournament to get the practice and still play versus teams, or after you qualify, we don't have to go there anymore. That's also
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not really sure to be honest with you. And so actually, so you talked right about women's football, right? So there actually is a couple of women's tackle football leagues, actually.
yeah, there is a couple of
Yeah,
tackle leagues, but again,
one in
it's
Canada too. Hmm.
yeah, there is. There's Blitz. I think Blitz is still in.
So yeah, so
Montreal.
I remember the Blitz dude from like when I was playing. I remember before I even knew anything about flag football. I know there's a lot of I met some of the a buddy of mine that I played tackle with in strategy with the Raiders. He ended up coaching the Blitz from O lineman buddy of mine, Pablo. But like I know in addition, I forget what league they were in. I should know this, but my apologies, I don't. I know there's the Women's Football Alliance. There's a Women's National Football Conference, so the WNFC, and then there's also the Western Women's Canadian Football League, and also the
Hmm.
X League. And I mean, I know they have the lingerie league. I'm not gonna. I mean, it is what it is. That is a league, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to see if some of these other female leagues are going to have some of these players be playing for like Team USA or maybe just other female players from other countries. So like, speaking to your point, right? It's going to be interesting to see the closer we get to these games, who's going to make a decision to play because we know 100%, right? So it's the Olympics. You look at the World Baseball Classic. I don't know if you're a baseball fan, but the World Baseball Classic. Usually, it's Team Canada and Team USA are not major league player. Their rosters aren't full of major league players. But the years that those guys decide to join, like when they did the first World Baseball Classic, they were rammed with like Team Canada and Team USA with major league players. So all those guys who were like not in the major leagues or playing in the minor leagues, but they're representing the country. Yeah, they got the boot. And I hope it's not the case where it's going to be a lot. I mean, there's only one NFL player I think per team or something that's going to be allowed. So I hope like these guys and ladies who've been putting in the time, playing in FPF, playing in other leagues, playing all year round, paying for tournaments and that. I hope not too many get the boot, right? Because I think that's wrong. But again, like you said, it's they're going to
It's
take an
business.
NFL player versus someone playing in FPF. Let's be honest, who they're going to take, right?
Yeah,
Like it is what it
but
is.
that's how sports work. Like it is like
Yeah.
to be honest, that's how it is. Same thing university wise too. Like not it doesn't really
Oh,
happen here
for
as much
sure.
where you see like a transfer come in from somewhere
Yep.
else to your
Yep.
school, but it happens in the States all the time now where you're RW1, so you're top wide receiver, and you're let's say you're going in year three, and then you have people hit the transfer portal, and it's to a point where the player that comes in the transfer portal is better than you, and not because you've been there for 2 3 years, the coach is going to be like, "Oh, you're our guy." No, it's going to be like, "Okay, well, this guy's coming in. He's better than you. He's going to be our number one. You're going to go two." And sometimes to a point where you could get two guys transfer, and you drop down to wide receiver three, and then you know what you do you got to transfer because you got to go play somewhere else where you're going to play. Because at the end
That
of
is
the day, you're
true.
trying to get to the next level. It's a business. At the end of the day, that's what guys have to realize. It's a business. One thing I kind of was also wondering in U.S. mostly it doesn't really happen in here where guys are players are not named. You don't call players as their name. You call them as a number. So like let's say your number is like 44. They won't call you. Let's say your number like oh Brent, your number is 44. They're not calling you Brent. They're going
Yeah,
hey
44.
44
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
44.
yeah.
You're a
Um,
number.
that
Like
happens here too. That happens a bit here. Yeah.
it's literally it is
Yeah.
what it is, and that's what people. I don't think people realize it as much that it's a business.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Listen, if you're getting a recruit, I'm not going to mention the player's name, but I remember there was a recruit who came in from Rutgers, at McGill. Good dude. Met him. He was a corner that was like 6'2", 6'3", former receiver, switched to corner. They give him every opportunity to grab a starting job, dude. Every opportunity. He was at Rutgers for 2 years, and again, he was a quiet dude, but he was a really solid dude. Remember going to practices and talking to him. Not gonna say any names, but he was a good dude. And he ended up, I think he played a handful of games just because he got hurt at Rutgers. So he spent,
Okay.
I think, a year and a half on the practice squad as a fifth or sixth corner because he got hurt and was relegated to special teams when he did play. He has size. He can never put it all together because again, he always got hurt. Same thing. I remember tight end. This guy was from Brazil. He was like 6'7", huge wingspan. He could run. Just I don't know where they found him, but I never actually saw him play a game. I don't think, but I saw him at practice. He was catching balls. Just couldn't put it together. Speaking to your point, like guys, especially if you're coming from the States, it is what it is. You're coming from the States to Canada. It sucks, but it's looked at as a step down. And coaches will give you chance after chance after chance to make a play or to prove that their money and their time they spent recruiting you was worth it. And it happens in all sports, but especially in football. Like you said, like even south of the border, like you get a transfer. Let's say, okay, this is a university of I don't know. Let's say Virginia Tech. Let's say a random
Mhm.
school. if you get someone that's transferring from Northwestern or someone that's transferring from Georgia, who are you gonna give the reps to? Or
Georgia.
who will you allow to make mistakes more? Someone from Northwestern or someone from
Georgia.
Georgia?
Georgia, 100%.
There you go.
So, but
Anyways,
anyways,
uh,
let's get
it's
this
FPF.
starting. We'll start in Division 6B. A few games.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
we'll do
sorry,
that.
yeah, yeah, you're right. Okay, so thank you, Ali Reza. Okay, so okay, we can jump into that. Let's stay with six. We'll jump into the
Okay, yeah,
new and
exactly.
improved
Yeah.
website
Yeah.
after.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So Division 6B, we're week 6, right? So we had week 6 to happen. I had a game of the week. The game I had was Whole Patrol versus Shakira's. Skilkira's. Shakira's.
I think it's Skrilla's. I think
Skrilla's, yeah,
Skrilla's. Yeah,
Skrilla's. Yeah, so
Skrilla's.
that was my game of the week. The last time they played, they did tie, so I was curious to see if we're going to have a back-to-back tie because that's the next time they play each other, but they didn't. We actually had a game that ended 18-12, so it was close because last time they played back in week 2, it was 18-18. So
Right.
Hope Patrol was literally one touchdown away from tying it and then going into overtime. And if overtime happened, could have had back to back ties for both these teams, what I felt would have been pretty cool to see. But we didn't get that this week. But that was my game of the week. So I was like, I remember it was at the game was at Brossard. So I was there. I was actually there watching it. So I was also like there back and forth. But I was curious to see if we're gonna have a back to back tie, which I thought was gonna be pretty cool to see.
Yeah, for
Didn't
sure.
happen though.
Okay. All right.
It
For
was
me for 6B, you know what? I'm gonna pick a blowout. I'm going to pick the Nard Dogs, laying a beat down 40-0 on the Goodfellas. So, home, you might be like, "Oh, you're picking a team to score 0 points." I don't care about them. I care about the fact that a team in the Nard Dogs who have struggled
mm-hmm.
the last couple seasons here in FPF and came into that game with an 0-3 record. They dropped a 40 burger, and more importantly, they pitched a shutout. I don't care who the good fellas are missing. If you can't score in FPF, or if you can't score, period, in flag football, there's a problem. So shout out to the Nard Dogs. They got their first win. They then followed it up with a loss to Vicious and Delicious, a solid team, but they lost by 7. They lost 13-6, so I can respect that. And shout out to Nard Dogs, their first W of the season, and pitching a shutout. That always leaves me impressed.
Yeah, and Delicious is a good team. They're 3-1. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
so the fact that Nardogs did drop a 40 bird on Goodfellas, and Goodfellas is 0-4 right now. Do you think Goodfellas is just really bad? Because I haven't seen them play yet. Um,
I haven't seen them either, to be honest. But I mean, well, you look at it; they've scored 24 points over 4 games, right? So I
yeah,
mean,
it,
let's be
it,
honest here.
are, so the fact that
So,
Nardogs dropped
6
40
points
and
a game.
they're 1-3 or 1-4 now. Sorry,
Dogs had a 1-4.
1-4. So does that
Yeah.
mean Goodfellas are just is really bad? Like, do you think they're the
Uh,
worst team in this division?
yeah.
Because again, we still have Fantasy Stars at 0-5, and the Goblins are 0-3. So I mean,
Yeah, I hear you. So I've seen Fantasy Stars play, and they have Christopher Robbins, who's a decent receiver. They just don't really have a quarterback. That's the problem. I'd say, yeah, you know what? I'd say, yeah, Goodfellas are just that bad. I want to say, because again, their highest point score was 12 against Skrilla's. Actually, they lost 33-12. Besides that, they scored 6, 6, and 0 points. So yeah, I'm gonna say Goodfellas are that bad. Not to say they can't get better. I'm not gonna sit here and act like they can't get better because they can. It's still early enough in the season where they can kind of get their act together and find their vibe. But right now, again, through 4 games, the most points they scored in one game is 12. That's not a recipe for success.
no, not at all. They do play. Um, where is it? They do play. So Goodfellas do play the Goblins like week 11. So it's gonna be curious to see who's gonna win that game, and if both teams are gonna be winless when that matchup does happen. We do have two teams that are undefeated still. We have the Mighty Schmucks and
Schmucks.
Pokey Bears that are one's 5-0, one's 4-0.
There's
They
just there's 4 teams. 14. Uh, actually, five teams
Oh,
that are
sorry,
undefeated
one,
right now.
two. Oh, actually, the
Five.
stables. Oh, there's 5 teams. Sorry.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Stables,
so
the
there's 5 teams.
Ballers,
Yeah.
Skrillers. Yeah.
Well, Skrillex have a tie, so I don't. Yeah, I guess.
That's still not a loss. Still
Yeah.
not a loss. All right,
But
there's a couple teams in this division. We'll take that tie right now. I can tell you that.
no, 100%, 100%. So actually, sorry, there's 5 teams. Pokey Bears, the Mighty Ducks, Stables, Ballers, and uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
so yeah. Yeah, Stables, Ballers, Skrillers, Pokey Bears, and Mighty
yeah,
Schmucks.
Skrillex, yeah. So there's 5 teams left. Out of these
Yeah.
5 teams, do you see anyone going undefeated, or you think everyone's gonna get a loss?
Again, I like I said this earlier in the year. I like the Stables. Again, I like the quarterback David Mather. I think this guy's a legit quarterback. Legit talent, I should say. Pardon me, a quarterback. Big Tesla coming up next Sunday. They're taking on the Skrillers, actually. So I mean, I think if they can knock out the actually even before that, my bad. Actually, Saturday. So Valentine's Day on Saturday, they have Pookie Bears, and then the following week, the following Sunday, they have Skrillers. I think if they can knock off both those teams, they also have the Mighty Schmucks a couple weeks later. I don't think they're gonna go undefeated. I think the Stables will lose at least one game, but I definitely could see them finishing at very worst 8-2.
Okay.
I think maybe even 9-1. 9-1, I think is actually definitely in play.
All right. For this week, guys, we do not have a power ranking top 10 because there's not a lot of teams that played as much. So that will come out next week. For game of the week, who do you have?
I got well, you talked about it. I have the Stables and Pookie Bears. It's gonna take
Okay.
place this Saturday at I believe in Broussard. Yeah, this Saturday in Broussard.
Okay. I have
You have
Ballers versus Toolbox. So that's going to be the end of the week on Wednesday, February 18th. We have a 2-1 team versus a 2-0 team. So that's my good week. Let's go to Division 6A.
6A.
So just looking at it here, there's not a lot of games. Again, we're kind of saying there wasn't a lot of games that did play. We were week 6, so we only had 2 games that played. We had Gamblers versus Only Flags and TGS versus Sophomore XL. I think Sophomore XL forfeited because they lost 30-0.
Yeah.
I kind of want to say, oh no, they didn't. They just
No,
got
they played. They played. They played.
yeah. Keon was quarterback. Six for
Yeah, that was
21,
tough. Tough
68
one.
yards, 5 INTs. And then Michael Scheller came as, and that's the tall guy. That guy's like,
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's my guy, man. Michael Shirley is a good dude. Both of those guys, Keon and Michael, good dudes, man.
he
Yeah,
came
tough
in
one. Tough,
for
tough
one more
loss.
attempt and threw INT. I don't think Keon is Keon usually the quarterback for this team.
Yeah, so for this team, he's playing
Oh,
quarterback. He
he
told
is.
me.
Okay, he's joined the
Yeah,
quarterback crew. Okay, yeah. So
so
they
so
lost
it's a learning
30.
experience.
They lost exactly. They lost 30-0. Again, I mean, it is what it is. That brings their record to standings. That brings the record 0-2, 14 points scored, 49 again. So Keon's gonna have to start getting some things under getting things to start working out. It's only 2 games, long season left. I think they're the one team that has only played 2 games, so I guess that kind of benefits them at the end of the day because they're gonna see what they're gonna need. Um, 12 teams make playoffs out of 15, so again, lots of time, lots of games left. We're week 6. We're going to week 8 actually. Sorry, or week 7. So I'm always confused with the schedule. So we're going to week 7, and they've only played 2 games, so they're like 5 games behind.
All right.
Um, yeah, so I mean, if the end that was, and my game of the week was TGS versus Sophomore XL, and they got blown out. So
Yeah, I'm gonna give a shout out to well Only Flags. They speaking of blowouts, they beat down the Gamblers 53-6. Meterick Moran, the quarterback for Only Flags, went 10 of 14, so pretty efficient. 254 yards. So that's you complete 10 passes for 254 yards. That's pretty impressive. Even more impressive though was the fact that he threw 8 touchdowns. So he threw 10 passes, 8 of them went for touchdowns. That's and I'm wearing a hat, but I'll tip my imaginary hat to Médéric Morin. It's pretty solid outing by him.
Yeah, you feel good too after you do that. When you put a stat line like that, going home, driving home with a smile on your face, you're like, I did that. I did that.
I'm looking at his receivers too. Elliot Fashon, like 4 catches, 136 yards, 4 touchdowns. His other two receivers, Arnaud Beauchemin, Joshua, I hope I pronounced this right. Joshua Munyand Musta, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Both those guys had 2 touchdowns each. So you had three guys doing all the damage, and all 3 guys scored at least 2 touchdowns again, with Fashion getting 4. So that's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. So going forward for this week, week 7, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 6 games. What's your game of the week?
All right, I'm gonna go. So I was looking at this game even
Sorry,
last
five
week. I was
games.
thinking to
Five
myself,
five games this week. Sorry, 5 games.
yeah, you're right. 5 games.
Yes,
I'm
it's
gonna go. It's a good question here. I'm gonna say Booze Cruise because again, like I was kind of high in this team earlier, so they're 2-0 right now. Again, it's one of those teams who only play 2 games. They're taking on Vice City. Vice City right now is 3-1. So I think that's for me. That's gonna be my game of the week. But there's a couple of the games I like here. But I'm gonna go again with Vice City and Booze Cruise.
okay. I'm going to the bottom of the teams. I'm going Vengeance versus Sophomore Excel. These are
Right.
the two bottom teams coming down to it. It's to a point where Sophomore needs the win. Vengeance could use the win to kind of get them in the standings a bit higher. So that's my game of the week. Again, for the people that kind of look to see the power rankings, no power rankings this week. There wasn't a lot of games played in week 6, so we're gonna wait a week, kind of get some games going in for week 7, and then we'll have a new power rankings for week 8.
Five
Division
C.
5C, yeah. 5C.
So 5C this week. I know I'm looking at the schedule right here. So we have actually a lot of games coming up this week. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 9 games in total coming up this week. And the action starts Saturday. We got 2 games. We got 1 game actually only Saturday. It's Capitals of Rohan against Saint Prechant, but then Sunday there is 5 games Sunday. There's one next Tuesday, and then 2 more this coming Wednesday to wrap up week 7 here.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a lot of games, which is good because again, we gotta get the games going through. Um, Going back to week 6, I'm gonna go back to a lot of the game of the weeks, my game of the weeks to kind of just touch base on it. I had Les Touchables versus Pudzbek. Touchables putting a beat down on Pudzbek, 32-12. So I was kind of
Yeah.
surprised on this score. Kind of just goes to show maybe lead touchables had a really good game as other than Pudzbek that didn't. Lead touchables go 3-2. Pudzbek goes 3-1. So touchables kind of shows that they got a big win there. Instead of going 2-3, they go 3-2, and they give the first loss to Pudzbek, so kind of shakes up the standings. I also got to see Royal Flush play. They played Sans Pressing.
Yes,
Um,
impression. Yeah.
yeah, Jordan McLaren, quarterback. For some reason, so he didn't. His stat line is kind of insane. 7 for 12, 164 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 INT. So you only threw 7 completions.
Yeah.
Seven completions for 164 yards, 5 touchdowns. So out of his 7 throws, 5 of them were touchdowns, and one of them were INT. So just take that, like, think about that. You've thrown
Yeah.
7 balls. 5 of the balls you thrown are touchdowns. One is an INT, and one is a completion.
Yeah.
So insane stat line, to be honest with you, something you don't see. If you saw that in the NFL, you would probably like, what the hell is going
Yeah,
on?
exactly.
And also he got two ints. Where to be honest with you, I kind of was watching that game a bit from the sideline, and I felt like he had like five. He was all over the place. Every time I checked, he was in the air or he was throwing a touchdown. So I was like, what's going on? So it's kind of just shout out to them. Shout out to the McLaren's brothers as well,
Yeah.
as like four of them play on this team. So it's cool to kind of see, and the fact that these guys are leading the division at 5-0, tied with Vin City right now. With Vin City being the best, I think they have the best offensive team and defensive team. So it's going to be nice to see out of these two teams who's better. And they do have a matchup week 14, the last week of the season. So if both these teams could end up being 9-0, we're going to have a battle for first place and a battle for undefeated record going into playoffs.
Let's see. We'll see what happens, right? If once we get to the playoffs, and hopefully those two teams, pardon me, will get to Longhorns again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see what's up. For me, I'm just looking at a lot of blowouts. I was looking a little bit at the what could have been against what could have been against LVL Jack Boys. LVL Jack Boys with a 24-12 win, so shout out to them. But looking at all these games, like all of them were blowouts. And actually, the LVL Jack Boys against what could have been is only that's the closest game, and that was decided by like 12 points. Right, all the other games are decided by more than two touchdowns, and it's just a little surprising. The Capitals of Rohan 49-0, getting smoked by Dixie Rack. Well, Vice City beating TDs and Big D's 30-7. You talked about obviously the touchables against Beck. And obviously Royal Flush against Tom Pressure. Yeah, so again, it's a little surprising. A lot of blowouts. I'm hoping this coming week, again, with all these games we talked about, well, the amount of games I should say, like hopefully some of these games are a little bit closer this week.
Yeah. Big shout out to Dixie Rec actually. They literally got smoked versus what could have been 45-6. So they come back, put a beat down on Cavaliers 49-0. So a big turnaround for them. I'm sure they're happy about it. Losing 45-6 is not fun, but winning 49-0 is definitely fun. So big
There you
turnaround
go.
for them.
Exactly. Exactly.
For this week, we have, as you're saying, we had 9 games. What's your game of the week?
So I got LVO Japways again, coming off a big win over what could have been. So now they're tied with 4 points each. LVO Japways are taking on the team you're talking about, right? Lace Touchables, 6 points with a 3-2 record. So I mean, if LVO Japways could pull off another upset, they could definitely go from right now. They're kind of tied for a lot of teams. Technically, they're all tied for eighth, but they're in 13th. But again, a ton of teams with 4 points, and they could get this W over Late Touch Abs. They hop even them, they're in second place pretty much. Or at
Mm-hmm.
least tied. Pardon me, in that kind of third and fourth. So not
Yeah, they
second.
go up to
They'd be tied
standout.
for like the whole fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh place kind of thing.
Yeah, it'll be a big win for them. I'm gonna go with Panthers versus Purdsbeck. Panthers right now are undefeated as well. Sorry,
Yeah,
Panthers right now are 4-1.
4-1, 4-1.
They're one of the top teams coming down, but Purdsbeck is 3-1. Again, we just kind of talked about it. They just came back from a loss, so the winner of this will jump one. The winner of this is gonna jump the other. So if Pittsburgh gets a win, Panthers should drop down a couple spots, but if Panthers win, they should secure the third spot for the next week or so coming down the stretch for the next few weeks. So again, these are two big teams gonna be playing at it. Playoff standings. One we have 21 teams here. 7 don't make it. So we have a lot of
Yeah,
teams that are winless. Deep balls, Sands pressing, Bonnie Blues Clues, Shockers over under. All don't have a win. You have Bastin, 1-3, and you have TDs and Big D's that are also 1-3. So a lot of these teams need to start getting some wins. Especially the Shockers. I'm kind of surprised that they're 1-3 right now. I think this is their
it's
second.
shocking.
Sorry.
I said it's shocking the Shockers
Yeah,
aren't doing so
yeah,
good.
um, yeah. I'm surprised they're 0-3. Again, this is their third season. I want to say. I know they have an Instagram, so shout out to them. But the fact they're 0-3, only scored 20 points, and they've gotten 95 point score in them. Hopefully, they get a turnaround. and make a little playoff push because we are going to week 8. There's still a lot of football left. All of these teams only have 4 games played, 3 games played, sometimes 2. So again, a lot of football left, but it's to a point where we're almost at midpoint of the season for a lot of these teams, and you can't wait too long because before you know it, you're 0-7. Then you somehow win the next 3 games, but it's not enough to make a playoff push. And the fact that 7 teams are not making playoffs, it's a big portion of the division, right? There's 21 teams,
Sure,
still a big
sure.
portion. So hopefully some of these teams kind of wake up, and hopefully everyone gets at least one win this season. I think the most I think I one thing I do not like seeing is a team not getting a win. I feel like everyone deserves at least one win in the 10 game season. So hopefully
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure.
the teams that have our win list right now, they get at least one win. Yeah, at least 1 point 1 win. Uh, yeah, sorry, I was trying to look at something, but at least they get at least one win this season, so they feel a little bit of confidence. After getting a win, it's something that could start something going, and
Yeah, they
then
could
you
build on
never
it. Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, so
All right,
uh,
cool. Let's go to Division 5B.
give me one. My will go with it. My doorbell just rang. I need to kind of see.
Anyways, I got you. I got you. All right, so like I said, we're going to Division 5B here. So looking at the landscape right now in 5B, trying to get the schedule to come up here. So we have this past week. Yeah, so we had 7 games, sorry, 6 games this past week. Demons, big victory over Le Mans the Bench. We talked about it last week on the pod, right? About how there was a rematch for the Demons, exercise some demons, figuratively speaking, as they were knocked out of the playoffs last year by Le Mans the Bench. So 34-18 victory for the Demons. Looking at these stand-up performances here. So yeah, Ben Iglesias, the quarterback there, 5 touchdown passes in the game. Liam Delgadis, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, 2 touchdown catches. And that game, Neil Wright, shutout. He's been a guest on the show before, 1 catch for 1 yard, but it went for a touchdown. So good for him. And Delgadis also getting 2 sacks in the game. So that's a solid performance by him. So getting a big 34-18 victory over Le Manjo de Bay. Doesn't, get rid of all the demons, if you will. But I mean, again, you have to beat them in the playoffs to do that. But again, good quality, solid regular season win for the demons. So props to them. We ain't done with the 90s. Dropped 24 on the Swiffer Jets, who only scored 2. So he scored on the safety. It's not exactly for the confidence for their offense, but again, it's a great job by the defense that we ain't done with the 90s. Chattagee Community College blew out Chalmity Cho. So I was kind of looking forward to that game again. Chalmity Cho's our veteran team, right? Chattagee Community College, still a new-ish team here in FPF, but again, a big 46-13 victory. Another blowout game. Deep zone penetrators 47 over PI Central, who scored 25. The Demons then followed up their W over Le Manjo de Bench by knocking off Puff Puff Pass this past Monday at the St. Hubert. I was going to say St. Hubert, pardon me. Is it St. Hubert? Yeah. Statty Bear. Sorry, that's what I'm trying to say. My apologies. It's been a long day. So yeah, 33-18 victory for them. And then Bend Don't Break, 39 over TD Blitz, who only put up 12. So a couple blowouts here. Actually pretty much all blowouts here in Division 5B this past week. So looking forward to week 7 now. So week 7, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matchups here. Headline matchups are going to be McGill Swim Team against PSTM. The Emperor's Rochete taking on Jamaican Bobsled Team. Ben Dombre taking on 7-Eleven. Le Manjo de Bange, again, looking to bounce back after getting beat down by the Demons. They're taking on Swiffer Wet Jets. Demons are in action against the South Shore Crash Out. So that's going to be this Saturday in Broussard. We have Deep Zone Penetrators against Chomedy Cho. So Chomedy Cho's looking to bounce back after their blowout loss. Rampage against Catch and Flex. That's going to be in Broussard. And then also in Broussard, a game I'll be watching and scorekeeping probably will be PI Central taking on Puff Puff Pass. So that's, again, a lot of games going on here in week 7. And like I said, there's about 6, 7, yeah, 8 in total. So 8 games in total coming up here week 7. So it should be a big week here in 5B.
Cool.
In terms of games I'm looking at here, Yeah, I'll be honest. The game I'm looking at, actually, you know what? I want to see Emperor's Retrete. Again, there's a couple guys who used to play for McGill on that team. A couple guys who were solid as well. So I want to see them taking on Jamaican bobsled team again. A good group of guys, Jamaican bobsled team, but they're struggling right now in the standings, right? Their team only had they're 1-3, right? Taking on again Emperor's Retrete 2-1. So Jamaican bobsled team, they want to get back on track. Now's a good time to get their second W of the season because right now they're tied with a ton of teams with 2 points. They can get to up to four. They could jump a ton of teams. They could jump TD Blitz. They could jump Puff Puff Pass. They could jump Green Monster Family, and be tied points wise with a couple of teams up there in the standings, right? So let's see who Jamaican Bobsled team can he get the W, or will Emperor's Retrete improve to 3-1 and climb the standings on their side as well.
Mhm. Kind of gonna go backwards a bit, just to kind of do my game of the week that I had. I had week 7. I had PI Central versus Deep Zone Penetrators. Um, Again, surprise at 47-25 for Deep Zone. I thought this game was going to be a bit closer than it was, so that's kind of surprising for me. Again, and shout out to Shadigi Community College. I think this is probably one team that I'm buying in on them. I think they're
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
going
yeah.
to,
You have to at
yeah.
this point.
I think they're probably one that they should make it pretty far when it comes to playoffs. I think they're going to have a really good record this year as well. I don't think they're going to lose much regular season games, but I think this is going to be their year compared from the last season where I think they went 2-8. They didn't win that many games. They didn't do so well. So this year is their year. So I'm happy to see the turnaround. And then for my game of the week, I'm gonna have McGill's. Demons versus South Shore Crashouts. So that's gonna be my game of the week. South Shore Crashouts are 1-3, and Demons are 4-0. So again, we have
Yeah, yeah.
kind of a top team versus a bottom team, but South Shore Crashouts are not doing so bad. They're 1-3, but they've scored 99 points, allowed 129. So they're scoring about 25 points a game. It's not that bad, and they're allowing around 30 points a game. So again, 32 points a game. So it's not as bad as it looks. The fact that they're 1-3, so it's gonna be nice to see how they're gonna do versus the 4-0 Demons.
Right. Fair enough.
We could go to Division 5A.
5A. So we're
I
gonna
don't
have
think there's
5A. So we had a tie this past week in 5A.
so,
No pun intended. Deep balls tying 31-31. So 7 games in total took place last week in 5A. Couple blowouts again. No, so no pun intended. So they tied deep balls 31-31. Then they turned around and get smoked 26-6 by Richter. So I mean, there's that. I think a game we talked about last week. Speed Academy Junior laid a beat down on Kicking Assets 33-13. And a
yeah.
couple of
So
closer games though as well. Like a lot of sorry, and Violings beating Superbach by a score of 38-18. But there were some close games as well.
yeah, 30. Well, we got the tie. Not Fast and Furious 25-19. Thunder Buddies versus Pigeons 27-26. uh, Saint Jean Vanny versus Toon Squad 39-31. So again, I guess you're saying close games. My game of the week was Kicking Acids versus Speed Academy Junior. Again, for me, my game of the week. I'm assuming those games should be tie or close. Sorry, not tie. Those games should be close, but they just been blowouts. Speed Academy
Yeah,
putting a
yeah,
beat
yeah.
down 33-13. So again, am I surprised? Yes. I thought it was going to be a bit closer than that. I do know Speed Academy went into this game being 3-0, and Kicking Assets were 2-2. But again, I thought it was going to be closer than a 20-point game. Um, I did think Speed Academy was going to win, but I didn't think they were going to win by at least 20. So kind of surprising over there. But it is what it is. It happens. Teams do have bad games. Team has really good games. Football is part of the sport. For my game of the week going into week 7, as you were saying, we do have 7 games. I'm gonna have that's Division 5A. I'm going to have. Wait, I had 2 games here. Um,
You want me to tell you my game while you
Yeah, you
decide
go.
yours?
Yeah, yeah. Give me your game.
Sure. No worries. I have actually so I have the Thunder Buddies, and they're going head to head against Toon Squad. So both teams right now sitting with identical 2-3 records. Both have 4 points. They're both tied with Voodoo and Kicking Assets and New Kids for ninth in the division. So whoever wins that game obviously will leapfrog the other team and could actually potentially will leapfrog actually perfect timing who's at an eighth right now, right? So that'll have you going from basically the tie for the ninth spot all the way up into the seventh spot. You'd be tied with teams like Texas Wales and Richter and all that, points wise at least, and ice up. So yeah, Toon Squad 2-3 taking on TD Brothers 2-3 as well.
Okay. I have Texas Wales versus Perfect Timing.
Okay.
Perfect Timing 2-0-1, so they got that one tie. Texas Wales 3-2, 184 points for, 128 against. So they played 5 games. They're only allowing 24 points per game. Defense is pretty good. Offense is really good. In 5 games, they scored 184 points, so that's about 40 points, about 36 points per game. So they're scoring. Perfect Timing is a good team. Texas Wales is a good team. So two good teams. They're going to be going at it. So I'm very intrigued on who's going to win this game and what the score is going to be if Texas Wales could still put up their average 36 points on a perfect timing defense that's right now only allowing 20 points per game.
Actually, sorry, I just made a mistake. I realized something. Sorry. It's Toon Squad against Thunder Buddies. My apologies, not TD Brothers. So Thunder Buddies 4-0 right now. So obviously they're a little higher up in the standings than Toon Squad, but again, Toon Squad 2-3. That record still stands. They're coming off again that tight loss to College St. Jean Vanny, the alumni team, when they beat Unsportsmanlike Conduct. They're coming off also the week before a tough loss to the Pigeons, 32-26. So Toon Squad, they're in a lot of their games. They haven't stacked together wins. I mean, they have 2 wins on the season, but all of their losses looking at here. So you lose by 8 to College St. Jean Vanny. You lose by 6 to the Pigeons. They lost also by 6 to Superbach. So they do have a win over New Kids. I mean, they have 2 wins on the season, so that's not nothing. So I'm looking at Toon Squad right now. I'm gonna call you guys out. You want to climb the standings and be taken seriously, knock off the Thunder Buddies who are sitting at 4-0 right now. That'd be a huge upset, and I could put you guys on the right track, right? That would then be 2 wins in your last 3 games. So I'm challenging Toon Squad right now to see if they can step up and accept that challenge.
For some reason, I thought you said TD Brothers versus Toon Squad.
I did say I finished it off by saying TD Brothers. I was looking at the standings, and by I saw TD Brothers. I meant to say Thunder Buddies. There's a T and a B. My apologies, my mistake.
That's what I thought. I was like, and then I was like, oh, did he say Thunderbirds? I'm like, Thunderbirds is 4-0. But then I was just like, I was like, okay, we're just gonna go.
You can correct me, dude. 100%. You can
Yeah.
correct me. Don't
No,
worry
I
about it,
wasn't
man.
because the thing is, I wasn't look at this. I didn't look at the schedule who's playing, so I just figured. I like even though it was a top, I wasn't at the stat. I wasn't at the schedule. So, but I remember, like I don't know with Thunder Buddies and TD Brothers, kind of if you look fast, like quick, maybe it's
Same, yeah, exactly. And that's what I did. That's exactly what I did, to be honest with you.
so. Okay, so
All
that's
good.
Division 5A. Let's go down to Division 4B. For B, I guess I'll start us off. I had game of the week. I had balls deep. Sorry, versus Casta 12. So that was my game of the week. Again, there's only 4 teams I got to play. This one kind of more spot on. Casta 12. Well, Casta played 2 games. They played versus 1 goal. That game, I was trying to look at before. That game ended up being a forfeit from Cast at 12. They bust cap. From what I believe, they went over cap. So that means 1 goal automatically wins 30-0. Cast at 12 did win that game 40-24, from what I was told. So again, busting cap doesn't help. Make sure you guys go on the website. It makes it's really so much easier now to kind of fill in the roster. You're able to put in your team, take out the guys that are not there, add the guys that you have to add on. It takes maybe 1 or 2 minutes compared to how it used to be. So make sure you guys do that because busting cap is no fun. I mean, 1 goal is pretty happy about it. They end up losing a game. They end up winning a game. But for Cast of 12, you guys take the time, you guys get to the field, you guys ball out, you guys get the win, and unfortunately, you guys forfeit. So that's not fun at all. But Cast of 12 kind of comes back. They play balls deep. They end up winning 43-38. They don't bust a cap this time. So good job on that. But that was my game of the week, and it was a close one. So I'm kind of happy to see that.
Nice. Okay. Okay. I know. I think I picked the Packers last week. Taking out no pun intended. So the Packers are for 33-30 victory over no pun intended. Game obviously came down to the wire. Shout out to Noah Libleen, probably think I'm pronouncing that right. 5 touchdown passes in the game. So he obviously stepped up. Philip Clement, 4 touchdown passes for no pun intended. But he had a solid victory. And also Ethan Cohen. So Ethan Cohen he had a touchdown on offense, so 6 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown. He also had 2 INTs and a pass deflection on defense. So he's obviously the player and a 1 point conversion. He's obviously the player of the game for his team there. Again, a big 33-30 victory over no pun intended for the Packers.
Also, to kind of go back, one goal because of that forfeit, that was the first win of the season. So they're 1-4. So I mean, there is that. You guys got your
Okay.
first W. I guess use that as
Yeah.
momentum. And yeah, kind of just wanted to point that out. Three teams don't make playoffs in this division, so in total there's 15. So getting one game closer does help. The fact that also there's four other teams that that have only won one game, so it's pretty good. We look at the standings as well too. We only have one team that hasn't won a game yet. And that's Super Saiyans. I believe they should at least get one game. So for Division 4B, we should have at least every team that are gonna have one win.
That's one win, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's good to see. Regarding game of the week for this week, what are you looking
I
at since
I
we have
I have
season?
pacema- Anyways, I have pacemakers this Sunday taking on Uncle Rico Riders. So pacemakers, obviously Jason Rossi has been in the league for a million years. Seemingly a great dude. His team 3-1 right now. So 3-1 for Jason Rossi's team. Chris Brockwell been in the league for a million years. Great guy as well. He plays in the 35 plus. He plays all over the place. So yeah, their team is 3-1 again, taking on a pacemakers. Pardon me, sorry, taking on sorry, I just had it here. Sorry, taking on Uncle
Uncle
Rico
Rico.
Riders team,
Yeah.
who looking at the standings, right? Uncle Rico's Riders are 2-1. Right. So again, another veteran squad as well, with a lot of guys they have on their team. So two guys, and they've played against each other. I forget the name of Jason Rossi's old team.
Junkyard
Paul
Dogs.
Lapierre played with them.
Junkyard Dogs.
Thank you, Junkyard Dolls. So Junkyard Dolls against the Rico Riders. Now they're Uncle Rico Riders, but Rico Riders against Junkyard Dolls. They've gone head to head a bunch of times, usually in Division C or even Division Three over the years. Now, obviously, they've both lost some players. Some guys got a little older, so now they're playing in this Division 4B. But yeah, two veteran teams who've been there before going at it. That's my pick for game of the week.
Okay, nice. Again, I'm just saying they're playing Division 4B. They fit the cap, so if it works, it works. You know, a lot of people sometimes say like, "Why you're not playing Division 3?" But if you fit Division 4B, I mean, go into Division 4 to 4B to a point. If that's how the system works, go with the system. For my game of the week, I have Super Saiyans versus Brewers. Brewers have won one game. They're 1-2. Super Saiyans 0-4. I think this is the time. If Super Saiyans want to get a win here, it's going against the Brewers. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like Super Saiyans should have an advantage against them. But again, Super Saiyans are not having the best season so far. They're 0-4. But I think, as I was saying, if you guys got to get a win, this is the time to get the win. No disrespect to Brewers, but they are probably one of the bottomless teams in this division. So this is the time, Super Saiyans. Get
I mean,
go out.
I love my man Pease. Pease is a good dude, good homie. Former host of this podcast. I think when it first started, he's gonna throw you some balls. He's gonna throw the other team some passes. It's just you got to catch them, but
Yeah,
he'll do it. He'll try to keep you in the game. So as long as you can catch those ints, you'll be all right.
yeah, exactly. So we'll see how
Shout out to Pease.
that game goes. That's gonna be on February 18th in San Diego, I think. February
That should
18th
be
in
good.
Laval. Sorry, Laval. Um, you're yeah. We both game of the week. Both said
Good.
yeah. Yeah, let's go
for 4A.
to yeah.
4A. Looking at the schedule here this week for 4A. So this week the schedule is pretty thick. Last week we only had three games, right? We had Snowden Delhi Degens knocking off Team Ethnic 41-29. We had the Ducks beating Black Vipers 31-24. And then Are You Not Entertained? They were entertaining in their 39-24 victory over Team Ethnic. So a rough week for Team Ethnic, losing two games over the course of 3 days. And again, like I said, the Ducks beating the Black Vipers. This week, though, we have a ton of games. We have right now, I'm looking at it here, we have 7 games coming up this week. Action starts Saturday. There's 2 games, 3 games Saturday, sorry, 2 games Sunday, and then 2 games Monday night. So a lot more action this week for 4A.
Yeah, so kind of what we were saying, there wasn't that many teams that played. Brent was kind of saying there's only 6, so there's going to be no power rankings for this division either. We're going to go back to after week 7. We'll have it for the week 8. My game of the week for 5A, it was sorry 4A. It was Snowden Delhi Degens versus Team Ethic.
Ethnic.
So again, a bit closer. I mean, I figured Snowden was going to win. There wasn't a lot of games to kind of choose from. So this is the game that I picked. Snowden took care of business 41-29. They dropped it, but then again, Team Ethic played 2 games that you're kind of saying. They lost 39-24, which kind of sucks because you lose the Saturday, come back on the Monday, you lose. I think that's probably one
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
worst
it's
feelings.
tough. It's
You
tough.
lose 2 games in the span of 2 days. It's not fun. But again, they come back. They come back this week. Saturday they play versus Ballhawks. So hopefully they don't go on a lose streak of 3 games. Ballhawks is 1-3. So F Team Ethic is on 4. So hopefully they could get their first win of the season versus a 1-3 Ballhawks, and then they don't lose 3 games in the less than 10 days. Let's just say, because that's not fun.
No, we'll find out. We'll
Yeah.
definitely find out.
So again, that's my game. That's gonna be my game of the week. To be honest with you.
All right. So I'm gonna go with the Ducks against the Snowden Delhi Deacons. That's big game coming up this Monday at Stady Bear at 10 o'clock. Again, looking at the standings right now, right? So you have the Ducks, they're in second place, 4-1 record. Oh, right behind them at 4-0 is the Snowden Delhi Deacons. So both Deacons, pardon me, both teams have 8 points. Snowden Delhi is undefeated right now, again 4-0, taking on the Ducks team who's 4-1. So whoever wins this game, so if the Duck, well, yeah, whoever wins this game, depending on, of course, what happens with the Trap Stars, because looking at the Trap Stars here, the Trap Stars, they're in action against Last Chance. So assuming Last Chance, I mean, they're 1-4. You never know. Maybe let's say Trap Stars gets upset by Last Chance. Whoever wins between the Ducks and Southern Delhi Legions will then have first place all by themselves. If Trap Stars win, whoever wins that game will actually be tied with them points wise, right? Because right now Trap Stars have the edge in the standings, despite them also having a 4-0 record and 8 points on the season. So a big game either way, whether it's they have their own sole possession of first or to be tied for first. Big game for the Ducks and the Snowden Delhi Legions.
Yeah, it should be a good game to watch as well. Let's go to Division 3.
All right, so we're coming around the track
So,
right now, almost at the finish line here.
yeah,
So yeah, Div 3, like you said. So pretty much one game last week. It took place Monday night. So the REIT knocking off Beer Belly Brigade by a score of 39-30. That took place obviously this past Monday, like I said, at Stady Bear. So I mean that's the only game we could talk about. We're looking at it right here. Big performances in that game. So Alex Fafard, 5 touchdown passes for Beer Belly Brigade, but he was outdone by Santino Sparagna, who had 6 touchdown passes in that game, throwing 3 of them to his brother Dante. So 3 touchdowns for Dante to go along for 113 yards. And offensively, Matthew Simard had a pick for the team. So Keon Cyrus struggled a bit as a quarterback, but he got a sack, so he rushed for this
yeah.
team. Looking for
I got to
positives
watch
right
that game.
now. Sorry.
I got to watch that game. I
Okay,
played
no,
early
okay.
on.
You
I played at
talk
9,
about
so
it,
I
man.
got to watch. Got to watch some of it.
Okay. What were your impressions?
It was a good game. Um, yeah, it was good. I think the Reed was just a bit more athletic than BBB than Bear Belly Grade. So I think that was the advantage. But again, they scored. I like. I want to say the Reed scored a shit ton of points the first half because they were scoring a lot, and the second half it was kind of dead because they weren't. We were towards like their end the ends that they were scoring in. That's where I was kind of sitting. And the first half, I just remember seeing a lot of touchdowns. Second half, I didn't see that many touchdowns. So kind of looking at it now, yeah, first half they scored 32. Second half they only scored 7. But the first half they were kind of in fully in control. You had the two twin brothers, Dante and Sandro Sanito. Um, Brothers kind of just going at it, and one yeah, 8 for 8 for 111 yards, 3 TDs. So he kind of was just going on the field. You had Dawson Pi that was kind of like a ball hawk the first half, making plays, and kind of just one thing I kind of realized when people play Dawson Pi. Also, shout out to him. He just got signed to BC. I want to say so. Shout out to him. It's always nice to see CFL players that are active and they kind of get signed and stuff like that too. So and also it's kind of cool when you get to play against a professional athlete. That's cool. Yeah, Bear Belly Brigade kind of they weren't trying to test him either. They were kind of trying to not throw the ball on his side, kind of try to stay away from him. So I found that kind of funny. But yeah, as I kind of was saying, they just seem Reed felt more athletic, and they kind of used that in their advantage, and that's the reason why they got this win.
Looking forward to this week. So we have 9 games lined up. A lot of big games actually. I'll let you go first. So, what's your pick for game of the week?
So yeah, we have 3, 6, 9. So my game of the week is actually going to be Eastway versus the Reed. Eastway is coming off a win versus Win Diesel. So it
Yeah.
just goes to show that they are able to compete and they are able to make those upsets. And then a Reed's coming off a big win versus BBE. That was an undefeated team, you know. So
Yeah.
the Reed beats BBB, gives them their first loss. Eastway beats Wendy, so gives them the first loss. So I think to be able to watch these two teams play, it's gonna be nice to see. Also, want to give a shout out to Terror Squad. So Terror Squad is kind of right now. They've played 3 games. They beat the Hustlers. They lost versus the Pizzicahat, but again, Pizzicahat is pretty much a dominant team. And we kind of talked about it before. They played Ramfins. They
Yep.
won. They beat them 51-0. So I think Terror Squad is going to be that one team. You have Tam also throwing in Division 3, so it's kind of something that you don't usually see. He's usually a Division 2 quarterback or even Division 1 uh, back in the day when he was throwing. So I kind of want to just give a shout out to Terror Squad. You know, we haven't really talked about them that much, but I think this is going to be a team where when it comes down to like week 8, week 9, week 10, I think they're probably going to go about 7-3. They'll probably drop at least 2 more games going into their schedule. They have a pretty good schedule to be honest with you. They don't really play any the powerhouse teams that are up. So maybe to be honest maybe they'll go like 8-2, 9. But I think they're gonna win at least 7 games, 7 games or more. But I think it's gonna be one of these teams where we don't talk about them, and then it's gonna hit like week 11, and they'll be like, oh look at Terror Squad. Right now they're 6-1. Like where did they come from? So I just want to give a shout out to them now before we get into that situation. But yeah,
Okay. Okay.
I'll
Nice.
let you give me your
Yeah.
game of the week.
So I was gonna go with Speed Academy against Win Diesel. You look at it, look at the top of the standings, right? Both teams are up there. Speed Academy 3-0, one of the few undefeated teams left here in this division, and Win Diesel again coming off of a loss, but they're 4-1. But I'm gonna pivot a little bit. I'm gonna go with two teams who are a little bit down the standings, but are veteran teams. And I'm talking about, so right now I'm looking at Big Fat Bats taking on Banditos. That's going to be this coming Sunday, actually in Chattagee at 9 o'clock. So again, two veteran squads, a lot of guys who have played a long time in FPF, and a lot of successful players who have been successful in FPF as well. Two teams also that like to be physical. I like that. I always have a soft spot in my heart for those teams who like to be physical, clean but physical. So yeah, Banditos against Big Fat Bats this Sunday in Shadowgate. That's my pick for game of the week.
Okay, nice. For the ones that kind of do listen to this and they're wondering about the power rankings, no power rankings this week. The fact there's only one team doesn't make a difference to make a whole power ranking. Where only one team has played. So after week 7 passes, we'll have a new one for week 8. Let's go
All
Division
right.
2.
Yep. So Division Two. So this past week we had 5 games in Division Two. Bit of an upset. So Le Verge Fall knocking off the Brontourage 20 to 12. Pardon me.
Close one.
We had KGP Legends knocking off Campy Boutte, another upset right there, 44-28. Shot O'Clock knocking off Silent Tickler, so another upset right there. Bruins edging KGP Legends 27-26. And speaking of another close encounter, Cappy Boutte knocking off Shot O'Clock 33-32. So you have some upsets, and then you have a bit of a letdown the second game. But again, every game pretty much was tight except for one. Again, KGP Legends spanking Campy Boutte 44 to 20. I mean, that's not a huge blowout, but again, all these other games were pretty much one score games except for that one.
Yeah, exactly. So I was there. Well, out of the out of the 4 games that got played, I was at all of them. KGP versus Legends versus Campute. KGP had a great game. Phil Color was kind of just slinging it. He was doing whatever he wanted. Campute defense couldn't do anything much, and Phil Color kind of had his way. Sean Clock versus Silent Ticklers. I played in that game. It was close down to like the very end where we had to get a first down to kind of end the game. That's why we won 34-32. KGP Legends versus Bruins. I was also there. They played the same time we did, but we were kind of across the field, so I was kind of just looking at it. And then I also asked the scorekeeper Emma exactly how the game went, and she told me that KGP ended up losing on didn't score in the last play of the game, so they drove down the field, got pretty close, and then Phil couldn't punch
Oh,
it in.
wow.
And then shot o'clock versus Cam Butte. Again, I was there. We had a slow start. We were down. I think I want to say 20-12 at halftime. We ended up coming back, scored, got a stop, scored. Cam Butte came down the field, scored. We got the ball back, scored. Went for 2 to make it a 7-point game. Ended up missing it. We're up by 5. Canty Butte had a minute and 38 seconds left to score a touchdown. They drove on the field, got the ball to around the 8-yard line with 4 or 5 seconds left. Mark Andre Dries kind of making a play call. They're talking, and they break out the huddle. Our defense goes into a tight lanes where we shift one guy over if the quarterback does roll out. Mark ends up rolling out to his right side and throws a bullet to his snapper, Victor
Boutte.
Boutin.
Yeah.
There was like literally no look dot to his snapper in between me and Jean Slee. They're kind of I'm trying to squeeze. And he's kind of trying to play over top, and by the time he saw the ball came, he tried to come underneath. Victor makes a big catch, and they end up beating us 33-32. So again, it was a good game. They end up winning on the last play. So a lot of action for Division Two right now, especially the way how
Yeah.
the standings are going, and a lot of the teams that should be, I feel like, higher in the ratings or lower. So when it comes down to playoffs, because 4 teams are not making it this season, it's gonna be like we're gonna have some playoff matchups in like week 13 where teams are pretty much are gonna be in a playoff situation where they're gonna have to win because you have Silent Ticklers at the 9, you have Party Crashers at the 10, you have Shot O'Clock at 11, and you have Flag Slayer Corp at the 12. I think that's the one team where I feel like it kind of makes sense they're at the bottom. The fact that they only have 12 points, talk about they
Yeah,
only
yeah,
have
yeah.
12 points.
Yeah.
It's insane to be honest with you. I don't care who you have there with a quarterback that you guys do have. Um, Ryan
Brian Caroof.
yeah, exactly. Your arm is too good to be only score 6 points per game. It's
Yeah.
insane. Um, yeah, so I think that's only but like am I surprised that they're 0-2? No. Am I surprised they only scored 12 points in 2 games?
Yeah.
Yes.
A hundred
But
percent.
looking at the bottom teams there, like Santiago's 1-2, Party Crashers 1-4 is insane. I don't know I don't know how they're 1-4. They should be
Exactly.
one of the top teams, I believe. Like, and their roster, if you're looking at their roster right now, nothing has really changed. They have stud guys from top to bottom. They're losing to a point. It's either they're losing shootouts or they're losing close games. Like, it doesn't make any sense. They haven't got blown out by nobody. They win first week versus Le Verge full. Second week they lose against a shootout versus Idol. You can see that on our Instagram page. They have all the highlights there. They lose a tight one versus Stoics, where kind of Chris took control of the game, um, did what he had to do to get that W. Bruins again a shootout, 48-38, and then lose versus a heartbreak versus Heart 8, 35-34. So they're in the game every single week, but it's to a point where you're you're 1-4. They're gonna have to start winning games, or they're gonna be in a real bad situation coming down to week 12, week 13. Same thing for my team, Shot O'Clock. We're 1-4 as well. We're gonna be in a situation we're gonna have to start winning games. Same thing for Silent Ticklers. If they drop one more, they go 1-3. Brontourage, they drop one more, they go 1-3. KGP 1-1. They have two big games coming up. If they lose those two games, they're 1-3 as well too. So a lot of these teams are gonna be a lot of these bottom teams. It's to a point where they should start winning. Party Crashers should start winning some games. Scientific should start winning this game. Shuttlecock should start winning this game. So there's going to be a swing, but it's going to be a lot of teams tight coming down to the final stretch. And you're going to have, when we get to week 12 and week 13, you're going to have teams literally having to win this game to be in the playoffs. So I think we're going to have some early playoff matchups before the actual playoffs.
100%. And listen, it's fans, right? That's what as people, as media, right? That's what we want. I just wanna hop on something you were talking about, right? Looking at the bottom of the standing. So first of all, like you said, party crashers. There's no excuse. Let's and like you look at this roster here, right? You have the Alexi crew. You got Frankie Ho, right? You got Vinci Biondi. You have way too much talent, right? Ezekiel, right? A T, right? A CFL player as well. I believe he's playing quarterback on this team. So 21 TD passes, 5 INTs. That's nothing to spit at. Yeah, you have Medley Joseph again, stud player. Hussein Duso as well, right? Stud player as well on the team. There's no reason why this team should be this bad. Like, and I'm going to call this team out right now. 1-4 with this you guys arguably have the most talented roster in Division 2. You guys are better than this. So
Yeah,
I'm calling
100%.
you guys out. You guys got to step up your game because there's no reason with a talent with a roster like this that you guys should be this bad in the standings. And the majority of you guys have played together before, right? I understand Jean Lee's not your quarterback, but I mean, listen, you guys have enough talent. There's no excuse to be 1-4.
No,
I'm gonna go to the other side of looking at you talked about the Flag Slayer Corps, right? I mean, this is Flag Slayer Corps. This is the team we know. It's a team with they have talent. I know the last year or two they've lost like Rami Aboud, very underrated receiver. I know he tore up his knee 2 years ago. I saw him this past fall. He was back. He was subbing at least. I'm not sure if it's just a health thing where he hasn't come back to play full time, but he's not there. Mac Desurs, I think one of the most underrated players in FPF, he's not there either. Like he's gone. Like he literally left the team, right? So and I think he was just tired of losing. But this is on Ryan Carew. I'm gonna call you out as well, man. Like Quaysie said, you have probably the most arm talent out of any quarterback in Division 2. Or at the very worst, you're a top three quarterback in this division. Your decision making is questionable to say the least. You got to be better, right? There's a reason why you had two of the top, even not even just receivers, two-way players over the last several years, and you guys don't do anything come playoff time. Now, is your roster as good as it was before? No, but you still have some very talented players on your team, right? So I'm talking about guys like Jean Samuel Cornway, right? He's a guy I know. I think he was invited to the Team Canada flag camp. He's a snapper. He's a really good player. I'll give credit to Karim Maggi as well. He stepped up. He's always been on the team. He's played any role. He's played rusher. He's played snapper before, receiver. He's always a guy that will step it up. And two guys who I like that you added, right? So Mark Haddad and Eric Hampoursumian, two guys who have been playing on flag dealers, a lower division team the last couple of years. And I've always said, you can ask anyone that I've talked to who I've score kept the flag dealers game. I said those two receivers need to be playing in a higher division because they're wasting their time playing on flag dealers because the quarterback, not to throw him under the bus, but it is what it is. The quarterback's not very good. I'm not going to say his name, but you could look it up and see who it is.
But
These
Fly
guys are in a
Dealers,
higher division. Sorry.
they're a Division 6 team, right? When they came in
Yeah,
as
they're
Division
like Division 16. Yeah,
16.
they've been around for a while. Like a good group of dudes. It's just it's receivers who are playing with a quarterback who just also kind of like Ryan, questionable decision making. But where Ryan has an elite arm, the quarterback for flag dealers does not. Right. So again, talk about Mark and Eric. These guys make the step up now to Division 2, which is suitable for their skill level because these guys can ball. But it's the same thing, right? Again, you talked about this offense. They've scored like I believe it was like 12 points. You said they've scored so far this season. Yeah,
Yeah.
looking at it right here, 12 points in 2 games, averaging 6 points a game. Come on, guys. Flag Flag Slayer Corp. Come on. I've written about you guys for multiple seasons, and you guys have pulled off some upsets here and there the last couple of seasons. So I'm not gonna say you guys are trash because that's not the case. I'd be lying if I said that was the case. But Flag Slayer Corp, step it up. You guys still have some talent, not as much as before, but you still have enough talent to be better than 12 points over 2 games. Step it up.
100%. Unacceptable. Game of the week. Who do you have for game of the week?
That is a very good question. Very good question. All right, so let me see here. So looking at the games here. So again, shout out to the Bruins, 4-0, so sitting on top of the standings. I know there was a piece on Instagram, I think, or one of the articles. I think it was one of the articles about these guys being 4-0. So shout out to them. So I this week, so we have 5 games this week. So I'm looking at um I was thinking before when I was looking at this, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go with Shot O'Clock, so your squad, take it on KGB Legends. Phil Cutler, you've played with Cutler, you played with all those guys, Matthew Lepage and all those cats, Gabe D'Amico Mazza, these guys at the back of your hand, and maybe vice versa. So I'm gonna be interested to see what you and your defense does against Phil Cutler.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. I'm not sure he's gonna be there though, because I know right now since KGP is kind of a travel team, we go to places like Toronto, terms like that. They just started the NFL Detroit um, flag tournament, so they have like 3 tournaments. You qualify in Toronto. Uh, it's like Petersburg. They have different locations, and pretty much you get points and you qualify, and then you end up going to the championship, whatever. So that actually starts this week. So a lot of the roster, actually not this roster, but Phil is going to be in Toronto for this Saturday. So I'm not sure he's going to be back in
Okay, so
time to
then,
play our game. I didn't. I was going to ask him, but I just
well,
didn't.
then if it's not him, then it's gonna be Will Seabag, and that's not Will Seabag is as good of a quarterback as Phil Cutler. No, but
Yeah,
he's not
exactly. Yeah,
far
it's
off.
gonna
Like
be
he's a good quarterback, Seabag. So,
one of
all right.
those things. But again, I'm excited. I'm excited to play against them. As you said, I kind of know Phil's play calling, so it is kind of advantage for us. But I know Phil how he is right now, especially how dialed in and locked in he is. I'm sure he would be excited too to play because he would try to play a game like I always say. Defense is a game of chess, right? Like you make a move, offense makes a move. You make a move, so I feel like we would be playing kind of like a game of chess for each other. So hopefully he does make the game. If he doesn't, is what it is. My game of the week is going to be Idaho Utah versus LeBron Tourage. I think this is a good matchup between both these teams. LeBron Tourage needs a win. Idaho doesn't need a win, but they'll take a win. I feel like when it comes to both the quarterbacks, I think LeBron James has the disadvantage on their offense, but has the advantage on their defense. And it's the opposite between Idaho. Big advantage for their offense, disadvantage for their defense. So we should see a powerhouse offensive team versus a good defense team versus a mediocre offensive team versus a bad defensive team. Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. So let's go to
They've won
did what?
final division here, wrapping up all the men's, all the 6v6. Only 3 games coming up. One Saturday, Infantry ECW. Sunday, Vultures Fins Up. And then Wednesday, so next Wednesday, Steady Bear. It's one stop against Royal Luminaire. This past week we had 4 games, so one extra. We had Party Crashers knocking off Vultures 40-24. Braves with a blowout 46-12 victory over Fins Up.
But we didn't
Fins Up
have any
then turned
games.
around.
We didn't
Sorry?
have any games, Brent.
Didn't? Oh, sorry, okay, my bad. Sorry, I'm looking at it. Yeah, so that's
That was
End
last
of
week.
January, early
Yeah.
February. My apologies. My bad.
No, you're good.
All right. So no games last week. We're hopping. So the last time we left you, there was 4 games, and yeah, Braves, Braves knocking off Fins up and then knocking off Infantry. But again, that's like 2 weeks ago now. So
Yeah.
everyone had a bye last week. Time to watch Super Bowl, rest up, so on and so forth. Like I said, 3 games this coming week: Infantry, ECW, Vultures, Fins up, one stop, Royal Luminaire. Let's go.
Yeah. So I kind of was saying my game of the week is going to be One Stop versus Royal Lumiere. One Stop is struggling. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. Well, last week talked about it. They're struggling. They're 1-2. I think they went scoreless versus Party Crashers. Party Crashers right now. That's also what we're kind of saying. Party Crashers right now, 128 points for, 30 points against, averaging 10 points per game, blowing the hell out of teams. Their Division 1 team is great. Division 2 team is lacking. So hopefully, Division 2 team kind of step up. Right now, Division 1 team is kind of doing whatever they want. They're making plays. They by far have the best defense in FPF right now. And I mean, if you want to disagree, come at me. But I said what I said. I think they're the most athletic team. They have guys that literally are defensive wise. They have true defensive guys that understand certain concepts, and that's the reason why they're a team that probably can play man most of the game, and they probably get away with it. Um,
Oh yeah.
Going down to it, so we have one. As I said, we have One Stop versus Royal Liminar. Liminar. One Stop struggling. Royal Liminar was 1-1, so it's kind of good. It's going to be kind of good to see exactly how good Royal Luminar is. I think they're a team that's going to be struggling. They played a mediocre ECW team. They only won 39-34. So again, they're going to play a one-stop team that's struggling. Hopefully, they can take advantage of it and get this win. But I think it's going to be closer than some people expecting. That some people expect, especially Royal Luminar. For them, I think they should walk away this game easily. But again, you have to show up. You have to play. Both teams right now are 1-2. Sorry, both teams have only one win, with One Stop being 1-2, and Rural being 1-1. So one team's gonna jump up, one team's gonna go down.
All right. So let's go back to the Party Crasher for a second. Shout out to them. Actually, I watched their 5v5 game against the Braves. They blew out the Braves Monday in Saint Laurent. Joe Mahir wasn't there, but the Braves have proven more often than not when he's not there, it's not always a problem. Yeah, they got spanked, but we'll get to that later in 5v5. So shout out to the Party Crashers. Uh, this week, looking at the games, so I teased it last week, but I'll go through it this time. Yeah, Vultures and Fins up for me is going to be my pick for game of the week. Ben McMahon against Will Power, 2 solid guys. 2 guys that have been in FPF for a while. They won some big games in their time here in FPF. Going at it, both teams looking to get a big W. So that's going to be my pick for game of the week.
Okay, nice. Before we leave you guys, because we kind of went through all the divisions, let's talk about the websites. The website's been updated again. We know there is a bit of things that are kind of struggling. Scores weren't kind of coming out. Results weren't coming out. Again, bear with us. It's a new website. We are gonna have some issues here and there, but it's gonna get better um, moving forward. We have the record book is now on the website. So when you open the website, you could literally see on top. You'll see winter, division, home, calendar. Under that, you'll see record book, seasonal, individual, championship, all star. I don't think the championship and stuff is updated to full. Like it's not fully updated. Uh, Again, bear with us. Everything's slowly gonna start be adding on, and then it should be fine sooner than later. But you could see the record book for seasonal, so you're able to see um, who has the current records for certain things. So right now, if you're looking at the screen with us, right now we have most passing attempts. So you have Jeff Rosenblatt at 12,088. So stuff like that, you kind of can see where you where you're kind of at, which is pretty cool. The old website we didn't kind of have this kind of how it's displayed, so it's kind of cool to see. And also, if you're a player that's kind of like not known, or you don't think you're as good, you could be surprised. It could be one of the top guys that have tackles. It could be the top guys that have receiving. It'd be top guys like that. So it's kind of cool to see. Again, if you're scrolling down, again, as myself, I was kind of surprised. I was kind of looking at it. I have 54 defensive touchdowns, so basically pick six. I was kind of surprised that I had that many, but again, I've been in this league since 2014, so it's been a while. I've been on a lot of teams, but I find it's pretty cool to see. And again, also if you're a player that's kind of like not known as much, and you're kind of like you're curious, like you kind of have a Ethan at 229 sacks. You have a Julian at 226 that are still active guys. You have Raf at 268. You have Francis from Party Crashers at 298. So you have a lot of these guys that are still active. You have Zachary Gills.
It's like Real skill, man. My
Yeah,
homeboy, yeah.
exactly. You have him. I think he's the number two right now, 4 or 7. So he's kind of catching up to Ryan. Ryan
He's
doesn't play
getting there.
anymore.
That's
So
his goal.
yeah, so
He's
I
on my
think
team
I,
this
I think
past
it's
summer. That's his goal.
it, it's pretty cool to see, especially when guys are not playing or the guys are not active anymore. That's the way you kind of catch them. Like again, willpower,
Yeah.
207 interceptions. If you ask me who has the most interceptions FPF history, I'm not saying willpower. So it's pretty cool. Again, we have receivers. Who has the most
Unreal.
receivers? So we have most targets. That's kind of something I just saw. Right, we're gonna go back to it. So receiving, we have Jad again. Jad is still active, so he's still getting his catches. Paul Lapierre, you have Kevin, big snapper. A lot of these snappers guys. Patrick Jerome is not active anymore. He'll play here and there. Mike, AJ, you have Rory's up there. Um, Coming down to it, Pat's kind of everywhere. Pat's probably one of the top receivers that played in the FPF, so he's letting guys catch up now. You have most targets, which is pretty cool to see. You have Manu at 1,787 targets. So that's a lot of targets. And right under him, you have Marvin at 1,662. And then you have James, and you have Rory, then you have Kevin, and you have Mike, and then you have Joe, you have Sanders, and you have Will Power, and then you have JC. But again, it's a cool future to kind of look at, especially if you're a player that you don't think you're one of the top players or someone that just doesn't have that many stats. You'll be surprised in some situations, and also to a point where give you some motivation to a point where if you're like a number five and number four and you want to get to that number one, keep going at it because the possibilities are there.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just looking through the record book as well. I always look at rushing stats because in FPF, I mean, running quarterbacks, yeah, you see a lot of them. But I find it's being phased out more, obviously, especially in the higher divisions. We talked about this before, but like I'm looking at Jason Rossi, guy I mentioned earlier in the show, right? Like he leads in rushing attempts all time with 849 rushing attempts. He has nearly 8,000 rushing yards. He's
Crazy.
at like 7,788. And I'm looking behind him. So Christian Sarantola. So Christian Sarantola is the guy who played in FPF in the late 2010s. He was on my team years ago. Good dude, good player, underrated. He's like second in rushing attempts, second in rushing yards. So Ben McMahon, obviously we all know Ben. So he's third.
Yeah.
Phil Cutler is
Ben's
third, and
probably gonna by
Ben's
the
gonna get that
next
record by
season,
next season. Yeah,
Ben's probably gonna get there. Max
yeah.
too,
Well,
but
yeah. He's about 600 yards away from getting it, so he'll get there.
yeah,
If not
unless
this year, for
unless
sure by
but
the summer.
Jason's still playing right as well too, right? And I guess it depends.
Yeah, but he doesn't run as
His
much though. But yeah, yeah,
But he also plays co-ed, so like I think
it's
he runs
true.
in co-ed. So again, this is
That's
not
true.
this is not for one division. If you play on six teams, you're getting stats for all these teams.
Yeah,
By the
yeah,
way,
yeah, yeah.
like,
Exactly,
it does make
exactly.
it's an advantage if you're playing on more teams compared to a
Yep.
lot of like some people. Like again, I was looking at me. I think I'm number two in tackles, but there's some seasons I'm playing on 4 or 5 teams at a certain point, and I'm playing at least about 80% of those games. So if I'm getting 4 to 5 tackles per game for each team, I'm getting 12 tackles per week. By then the season, I'm getting like 200 tackles. So it does start adding up to that extent. But I feel like Ben definitely could come for Rossi's record there. But again, Rossi's still active. So it's to a point where it's the guys that are not as active, you could kind of start catching up to them. The guys that have been playing for a while, and just kind of stop playing, like the guy Chris. I don't think he doesn't play anymore. So
I don't think so, but I know there's two people that do play on that tackle, just like you talked about, right? So there's you and there's Marc Andre, right? So Marc Andre Lapointe. So I'm looking at it right now. You are exactly 73 tackles behind Mark Andre. So obviously you're not going to close that gap this season, but I
Yeah,
want to put
he's
out a
still act.
challenge
Yeah, he's still active too. He plays in at least
yeah,
two teams per
per season. Yeah,
season too as well.
yeah,
So he stacks up those tackles too. We played with each other, and
yeah.
he makes tackles. He gets those tackles.
So the fact that you play for each other, I mean, you should steal some of those tackles now. You should
We
take
play on
some of the
opposite
tackles away from
sides.
Mark.
Because he's a halfback as well too. So if I'm not playing the three, I play the four, and he plays the two. So we're always the opposite side. So we split our tackles depending what side the play goes to.
Hearing a lot of excuses right now. Why he leads you in tackle? It's a lot of excuses.
Okay. So we still have a couple weeks. Maybe I'll catch up.
All right, so yeah, check out the new website. Again, same website, but new design. Well, new additions to the. I guess it's still kind of newish website. Obviously, FlagPlusFootball.com. Just check it out. All the record books are there. The individual stuff, the all stars, like you talked about, Quaysie, the championships, all that great stuff. So make sure individual awards. Make sure you go there and check it out. So people like myself and people in general, right? You want to see that history. Everything new is great, but you also want to have that history and pay respects to all the people that put in the time and current and former players as well. So it's good that everything's up there now on the FPF website.
Yes, sir.
Right. So this will do it for episode number one. Thanks for tuning in. Obviously, we did all the men's divisions from Division 6B all the way up to Division 1. We're going to kick things off on the next show coming up with 5v5 with women's and co-ed. So make sure to tune in for that. Thanks again for watching this episode. Catch us on the next one. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.